Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, my name's Rich McDonald, and I played David Mason in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and you're listening to Everything Geek podcast.
Hey everybody, you're listening to Everything Geek podcast. Thanks for listening.
Hey, it's Leif Gaffert. I played Uncle Ben's killer in The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek podcast.
You're listening to the Everything Geek podcast, bringing you interviews from your favorite films and TV shows every week, and all of the latest news. Here's your host, Rory Williamson.
Hello everyone, this is Rory Williamson of the Everything Geek podcast, presenting my interview from Dublin Comic-Con Anime Edition with Eric Stuart, best known as the voice of Seto Kaiba, Priest Seto, Kemo, Syd and Critias in Yu-Gi-Oh!, the original voice of Brock, the second voice of James, and the original voices of Ash's Squirtle, Brock's Forretress, Brock's Ludicolo, Butch, Magikarp salesman, and the voice of Professor Sebastian in Pokémon. Bastion Misawa, Titan, Paradox, Elemental Hero Avian, Ojama Black and Kaibaman in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Elsworth, Sir Gil de Randsborg, Lug, Mr. Pitt's Bootleg owner, Syd Barlow, Sergio and Boss in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and Scorch and Jinlon in Yu-Gi-Oh! ZEXAL. Enjoy! Hi everyone, this is Rory Williamson from the Everything Geek podcast. I'm here at the press night of Dublin Comic-Con Anime Edition with Eric Stuart. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. I had a nice long nap after getting off my long flight, so I'm wide awake now.
And are you looking forward to the event this weekend?
I am. I have not been to Dublin before, and I'm excited to meet my Irish fan base. So, yeah, it's great. And it's very cool here. I love the gritty vibe of Dublin. It reminds me of my hometown of Brooklyn. So, yeah, it's very cool.
It's very nice. And can you tell me how you were contacted to reprise the role of Kaiba for the recent movie, Dark Side of Dimensions?
Well, you know, I've never not played Kaiba. So when they decided to do Dark Side, I kind of knew that was in the works for a while. The fans have always loved that version of the show, the first cast. So they contacted me and said, we're going to do this movie. And it was all hush-hush, top secret. But I was very excited to do that, especially the fact that they brought back all of the original cast. That was a lot of fun.
It's really great. And what did you think when you read the script originally? Did you immediately think the fans are going to love this?
Well, you see, we never read the script ahead of time. I had no idea what the movie was about, and I walked into the booth and just started. I was actually the first actor to record, so as I was going through the script while we were recording, that's when I learned about it, same way that you would learn about it when you'd watch the movie. What I did like was the dialogue was more mature. The storyline was a little darker. I always thought of Kaiba as kind of like a sort of a Batman character anyway, very Bruce Wayne kind of thing, and I liked sort of that Dark Knight vibe that the movie had. Plus, we really didn't stray too much from the original Japanese, which is why also I think the movie, the pace of it felt more cinematic, and it gave it more room to breathe. So it was good, and there were some funny lines in there. Obviously, there always have to be, but it wasn't overdone. You know, we have a tendency to, I will say this, as an American dub, will sometimes go too far with the shtick. And I don't think we needed to do that with this. And I think the fans appreciated that.
Kaiba has the best lines for sure in the film.
Well, I mean, I feel like what's great was, I mean, it was all about him. And, you know, even if I didn't voice him, that character has such depth. It just made the movie work, you know, to have that go on, and yeah, he's got the best lines. But I might have tweaked a couple of them, but that's the writers. I mean, they wrote that stuff for him, and you know, we as voice actors, we get the fame of saying these lines, but the writers are the ones that give us these lines.
And a lot of fans, of course, have their own theories and speculations on the ending of the film, but I want to hear your take. Do you think Kaiba would have finally defeated Atem, and do you think that was him passing on to the afterlife?
Well, I'm not going to touch upon my theory of the afterlife thing, because I think the fans should have their own version of that. But I will say this. You can't be a hero if you don't have, or the champ, if you don't have someone who is pushing you to be the champ. And I think from the beginning till the end, Kaiba can't defeat Atem. It can't happen. But what he can do is he can always be there as his sparring partner, as his rival, to keep Atem at the top. Because without Kaiba, Atem would have no one to challenge him. So I think that dynamic needs to stay that way forever. It would be very nice if Kaiba got to win, fair and square. But I don't think that that's part of the sort of the storyline. I don't think that works.
Plus, Yugi has to continue cheating after all.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's sometimes where I don't know where these guys get the cards from. They're just pulling them out of like the sleeve or whatever like that. But yeah, I think that has to be the dynamic.
Yeah. And what was the most challenging part of voicing Kaiba in the film?
You know, there's a lot of subtlety. You know, in some of the series, there's a lot of yelling, card play, stuff like that. But it's the stuff in between that's the toughest. Because you don't want to do too much. If there's a lot of drama there, let the dialogue speak for itself. You don't have to chew the scenery. But I don't really have a hard time finding his dynamic. It was nice that Darren Dunstan directed it. He did a fantastic job. It was nice that we were all on the same page of let's tone it down and make it more reality based. So there really wasn't that much of a struggle for me to find his emotion behind what he was doing.
And I have to ask as well, where were you when you found out about the Pokemon cast change?
Oh, I was actually working at 4Kids because I was senior voice director there for 10 years. And I remember when the show went to another company and then they decided to recast everyone. It was disappointing, but you know, it's like the characters are the characters. I mean, I definitely, you know, helped create Brock and helped create James, and I love the fact that the fans love those, you know, the first 8 seasons and all of that. But like, we helped create this franchise, and I'm proud of that. You know, I'm still humbled by the fact that the fans want to have my autograph as Brock and James. But yeah, you know, these roles are not going to go on forever. The fact that it went on as long as it did was great. You know, I mean, even the first Pokemon movie was one of the top grossing, you know, anime movies of all time. I'm in that. I played 2 of the characters in that. What more do I need to ask for? That was a lot of fun.
And finally, do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to talk about?
Yes, thanks for asking. So Dan Green and I, of course, plays the voice of Yugi and Atem. We started a production company called Ojama Productions, and we're making an illustrated audio drama, an original series called Crossing the Gods. And we also brought in our buddy Tony Salerno, who directed a bunch of shows and also is a voice actor. But we brought back all of the original voice actors from Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Turtles and all of these shows that we worked on to do this original series. So if you can imagine an audiobook where you're flipping through the pages of someone's sketchbook, so it's all black and white. It's not anime. But I think the focus is on the story and the voice acting. I think you'll dig it.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to me today.
Anytime.
Make sure to check out our podcast links, check out our website, website.everythinggeekpodcast.com/EGP, check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast, check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast, check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official-everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at the following email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comiccast, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekcomiccast. Make sure to check out the hosts' YouTube channels, Mine is www.youtube.com/user/Septus Check out Eric Stuart's website, www.ericstuart.com, and check out channel 1138 where we broadcast live from, www.channel1138.com. Geeks out, everyone.
Oh, my dear friend, I think that's lost to the sands of time. I mean, I was working, those were the heady days, working at 4Kids Productions, and you would get passed around to different directors from different
respect that it deserves. And certainly even though I knew I wasn't performing Hamlet, that